Welcome to Classic Books Recaps, where the greatest stories ever written are brought back to life in minutes. Whether you're revisiting a favorite or discovering a new classic, you've come to the right place. Remember to hit subscribe and join us on a journey through the greatest novels ever written. Now, let's dive into today's story. Thumbelina by Hans Christian Andersen. Once upon a time, there lived a lonely woman who wished more than anything to have a child of her own. She went to a wise old witch and asked for help. The witch gave her a special barley corn and told her to plant it in a flower pot. The woman did as she was told, and soon, a beautiful flower blossomed. When the petals opened, there sat a tiny girl, no bigger than a thumb. She was delicate and lovely, with a tulip petal dress and golden hair. The woman named her Thumbelina, and she loved her dearly. Thumbelina lived happily in her cozy walnut shell cradle, sang with the birds, and floated on lily pads in a bowl of water. But her peaceful days were about to change. One night, while Thumbelina was sleeping, a hideous toad crept through the window. She saw Thumbelina and thought, "What a perfect bride for my son." Without a sound, the toad took her away to the riverbank and placed her on a lily pad in the middle of a stream. Thumbelina woke up to the sound of croaking and found herself stranded. The toad and her son were preparing a muddy home under the water. Thumbelina cried and begged not to marry the toad. Luckily, the river's fish and a kind butterfly felt sorry for her. They chewed through the stem of the lily pad and helped her float away downstream, far, far from the toad and her slimy son. Thumbelina floated peacefully down the stream, admiring the sunlight and the flowers along the bank. Birds chirped above, and she sang softly as she drifted. But the journey wasn't easy. A large beetle spotted her and snatched her from the lily pad. He carried her up into a tree and showed her off to the other beetles. They didn't like her at all. "She has no antennae. She's too thin," they said. Though the beetle found her pretty, he eventually left her all alone. Once again, Thumbelina was abandoned in the middle of nature, but she remained brave and hopeful. Summer turned to autumn, and Thumbelina had to learn how to live in the wild. She made a bed from grass and slept beneath a leaf. When winter came, it was harsh and cold. Thumbelina wandered through the snow, hungry and shivering. At last, she found shelter near a burrow beneath a tree. It belonged to a kind field mouse who took her in and let her stay through the winter. Thumbelina was grateful, and she helped the mouse keep her home tidy. But the field mouse had plans of her own. The mouse introduced Thumbelina to her neighbor, a wealthy but dull mole. The mole was serious and wore dark velvet coats. He didn't like the sun or flowers, and he had never seen the sky. Still, the mole admired Thumbelina's gentle spirit and lovely voice. Soon, he asked to marry her. The mouse was thrilled and encouraged the match. "You'll be rich and taken care of for life," she said. But Thumbelina didn't want to live underground forever, far from the sunlight and the birds. She stayed quiet, unsure of what to do. One day, as Thumbelina and the mole walked through one of his tunnels, they came across something on the ground, a swallow, lying still with its wings folded. It looked dead. But later, when Thumbelina returned alone, she saw its tiny chest moving. The bird was alive, just weak from the cold. Tenderly, she nursed him back to health. She brought him food, water, and warmth, and she even draped a blanket over him. Over time, the swallow recovered, and a bond formed between them. When spring returned, the swallow prepared to fly away with the other birds. He offered Thumbelina a chance to come with him, to fly far away to the lands of sunshine and flowers. But Thumbelina felt she had to stay. The mouse had been kind to her, and she was expected to marry the mole soon. With a heavy heart, she said goodbye to her feathered friend. The swallow flew into the sky, leaving her behind in the cold earth. The day of the wedding came. Thumbelina was dressed in gray and led toward the mole's dark tunnels, deeper and deeper underground. She wept quietly. She would never see the sun again, nor flowers, nor birds. Just as the ceremony was about to begin, she heard a familiar sound, fluttering wings and cheerful chirping. It was the swallow. He had returned just in time. "Come with me," he said. "You don't belong here." Thumbelina didn't hesitate this time. She climbed onto the swallow's back, and together they soared out of the darkness and into the warm spring air. The swallow flew far across forests and seas, finally landing in a land of endless flowers. Thumbelina had never seen anything so beautiful. Every petal sparkled, and butterflies danced in the breeze. The swallow placed her gently on a soft white blossom. There, sitting in the heart of a neighboring flower, was a tiny young man with golden wings and a shimmering crown. He was the king of the flower fairies, and he was just Thumbelina's size. The flower prince was enchanted by Thumbelina's grace and kindness. He asked her to be his queen, and for the first time, Thumbelina's heart said yes. The fairies gave her a new name, Maya, and gifted her a pair of wings so she could fly like them. She and the prince lived among the blossoms, where the sun always shined and music filled the air. She was finally home. And as for the swallow, he returned north every summer to sing the story of Thumbelina, the girl no bigger than a thumb, whose heart was as wide as the sky. If you enjoyed this recap of Thumbelina, don't forget to like and subscribe. And hit the bell for more classic books recaps. Let us know which story you'd like next in the comments.